And we're live. Welcome. Oh my God. Helen dressed as Wonder Woman. We have R2 Dustin, Mo Clunky, Tanks Xmas, the Clueless Wonder and The Mandalorian. Everybody, ho 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 Hodor. It's been approved by Hodor himself, I must say. Welcome to the Star Wars Christmas celebration, holiday celebration. What we're doing today is we're going to celebrate the season 2 of The Mandalorian, which we all believe is worth celebrating. And we are also going to be talking about all the fantastic Star Wars news that came with Disney Plus Investors Day, the 10 new Star Wars shows, the new Star Wars movies. But before we start, let's cheers, everyone. Cheers, everyone in the chat.
'Tis the season to be motherfucking married. Cheers, everybody.
This is the season to be jolly.
Are you drinking a key lime LaCroix?
What's that?
Are you drinking a key lime LaCroix?
Mango, you fucking LaCroix police.
Oh, man.
Anyways, we got some awesome people in chat. We got Jormungender, whose brain scan went fantastically. That's great news. Kapertinsky, Otila, Jess G. We have also Matsu Dominique, and I'm sure we'll have some other awesome people in here today. Like I said, we're gonna chat some Star Wars. How's everybody doing, by the way, after the Mandalorian season 2 finale? We'll start with the Draces. How are you guys feeling?
Exhausted. It was so much. It was a lot of information just dumped on us.
It was.
A lot of emotions. A lot of emotional roller coaster. So, I don't know, Dustin. How would you feel?
I feel good. Let's talk about Mando every day.
Imagine having that many good vibes in 2020. Mando every day, like up and just.
Oh man,
we're ascending. We're ascending to a new consciousness, right? So we got 2 thumbs up there. We'll get some ratings from the finale in just a moment. Sean, overall, you're feeling good. You're feeling good right now.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, like that. Here's the thing. I mean, like, because I thought it was a really exhilarating season. It was the Mandalorian expansion pack was kind of what we got. I mean, like we were going forward with the story of a father and son. We kind of got like a little bit of or at least we definitely closed like a book on a chapter of that story, and it was pretty. And it was it was very emotional. Like I hadn't cried in a Star Wars thing in quite a while. And so, and you can see it on our video, I'm brimming with tears, like throughout that whole, like last chunk between Din and Baby Groot. Exactly. Right there. He's just touching the little stubble. Also, he kind of got rid of his mustache, like in between episodes, by the way, which I kind of noticed upon when I was editing it. But no, I thought that it was a really strong end to like a really strong season. And it kind of reflected a lot of things about, the finale reflected a lot of things about like the season as a whole. I mean, like there was again, even more possibilities, even more like teasing, even more shows, like, and like kind of, but also keeping it kind of, very kind of like emotionally grounded and resonant in that way. And so I was, I got my little misgivings about it, but I mean, that's just Star Wars. I mean, like to me to not, it's like Star Wars is like living in a city that you love. You can only bitch. You can only like you can love it, but only you can bitch about it in the way that you love something. And
that's a really good analogy, actually.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, and so because people care so much about it, and so like I thought that it was a very it had a lot of the things that I really wanted and a lot of the things that I've come to expect from the show. And I thought it was a tip-top fucking end to a really, really great season.
Like I said, we'll get to the macaroon ratings in just a moment. Helen, you're feeling good. You feeling good? And Mandalorian was a nice solid win, a nice big W, it was some serotonin that we needed in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Right, Helen? The Clueless Wonder Woman.
I don't know who's Grogu. Like, where's Batman? Where's Superman? Where am I?
Right. Oh no.
It's a weird crossover. Because seriously, people, I said that. And I said that like a week ago. I think when we agreed to this, I said, people come dressed up. People promised to come as Jabba, as Leia in a slave bikini.
Oh my God.
And seriously, like I'm like always, I'm the only person.
Shame.
That's for everyone but Helen.
I will say this. I was looking into it. I looked into Like I couldn't get a hold because I have one buddy that has a slave Leia costume, and I couldn't make it happen. Like the logistics of it couldn't work out. And then I was looking at some other ones, and it was right towards the end of the year. And like unfortunately, the UPS is the USPS. I've seen some better news, I think.
And Amazonian doesn't like shut the F up.
I ordered a toque and it took me like a month to get here, and I ordered it in like early.
So it wasn't for, and then I was even looking at like you ever seen like those bikini shirts where it's like that, but it had like
the coconuts kind of.
I was trying in earnest, but I had to come dressed up. I had to kind of do the reason for the season type thing. So apologies on that score because I wrote that check. I just couldn't cash it. So apologies to that.
So Dustin, you have a Gremlins sweater. Let's show that to the chat.
No, show that. That's my Baby Yoda sweater. What are you talking about?
The OG Baby Yoda.
He really is.
And then Morgan, what's yours?
Seriously,
They could be cousins.
Yeah, absolutely.
The dumbest sweater I've ever bought, and they only have like extra large at the Target.
Tis the season.
Tis the last season. We were so excited
for season 8.
That Christmas, we were losing our minds that Christmas.
Only good vibes today. We don't need to talk about Game of Thrones.
Right? Oh my God.
Any more words come
Oh man, it's going to be a fun one today. So everybody's feeling pretty good. Let's jump right into it. Let's rate the finale. We'll go back to Helen. We talked about it with Aziz the other night. You rated it a 12, which is pretty crazy. 12 blue prawn macaroons out of 10.
That's how much I love Luke. No, seriously, like for that scene alone and for 4 epic women fighting for that bridge and making their way to that bridge, I mean, that scene alone deserved like 50 macaroons, like seriously.
It was really good. So Helen says 12. We'll go to Sean out of 10 at least.
I'm vaulting between like a 9.5 and a 10 out of 10 macaroons is what I would say. I think I got just, and again, it is only because of just like there's a little sense of me that and you guys remember I think it was on our stream, and I've definitely said it on our streams over on our channel. Is that I kind of wanted to keep the Mandalorian stuff kind of I wanted it to kind of exist in its own little ecosystem, and I understand. Like he put out a reply all to every Jedi in the fucking galaxy. Who's the fucking Jedi that's going to pick up the phone? It's probably Luke. I totally get that. But insofar as and then there's just the teensy tiniest little bit of just like you can see it in the video. Like I kind of. It's like a dog that sees something puzzling. I just kind of go, like whenever they had Luke's face or whatever. But again, I just want to say that it's not that big of a deal. It was still a really fun, exhilarating moment. We got to see Luke in an era that we've never really got to see him on film before. And I think that, and obviously, it
made Mark Hamill happy. That's a pretty big deal.
Absolutely. And so I think that it was, and the thing is, I'm never like against people having a good time with Star Wars whenever and for them, and I think by and large this has been pretty uniform as kind of getting everybody together to get excited about this world again. And so, and as long as the enthusiasm is up, it's just a little, I'm just picking nits. You know what I mean? I'm just picking my nits. I'm not really, and so I think that I would say
we got all of our predictions wrong.
I mean, I will say this insofar as I expect my predictions to be wrong, so I always come in. To me, it's like you're shooting craps. You know what I mean? I'm throwing some dice. It's not always going to come up where I want it, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be surprised that it doesn't or whatever. So,
but hey,
oh yes.
But I just want to say I've been banging on about this Mandalorian civil war since I don't know. Mm-hmm. episode 1, Kyle. I don't know, but so
Right.
this will happen in season 3, and this is what you said, Sean. I think they will go back. I think this was just a stage to tease all the other shows, which they needed because they come
And then we're
out
getting
soon.
Thrawn in season 3 too. We're getting the Grand Admiral Thrawn.
And this is what they needed. They needed this very successful show for all the other spin-offs and to learn from this show. But I really do think season 3 will go back to the Outer Rim, Mandalorian, Western, more Jedi in every episode. I really like that.
Yeah, I think that it's gonna. I do think that it kind of, because you can kind of. It was almost like it was like taking a big breath and kind of expanding, and then we're kind of going to get the exhale, and we're going to kind of get to just sort of hopefully focus a little bit more on what I think are the really interesting aspects of the story going forward, which is the interplay between Bo-Katan, between how they're going to reclaim Mandalore and all that type of
The
stuff.
Cobb Vance of the world, getting to know more characters like that.
100%. Yeah. So Helen was right on the money. And I do remember saying, I was like, Rogue One Luke expansion pack was something that I think I remember saying. And that's kind of what we got. So, I mean, like, yeah. So, every once in a while, I get a W. It's not very often, but every once in a while. So, but I'd say 10 out of 10. That 10 out of 10 is where I'm going.
I'm liking it so far. Draces, what do we think?
I think I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, even though I don't know why I convinced myself, like, oh, maybe they won't make this about all the characters we already know. Because I also was like, oh, it'd be cool if it was a show that was like all new characters. But that was never going to happen, and I don't know why I got that in my head. So, if it was always going to do that, this is the best way they could have possibly done it. So,
Even with you're saying this is the good kind of fan service.
Yeah, I was into it.
Yeah. I got R2D2. That's all I wanted.
That got you from 9.5 to 10.
Yeah. Actually, I'm more of an R2 stan than I am Luke. R2
We were
is
way more
cooler.
excited for R2.
And he was so excited to see Grogu. That was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he's officially in every Star Wars now, right?
Oh.
R2 is like he's like he's like when we do like the Hobbit version of Star Wars and we get old man R2's just sitting down like writing out his whole like a droid's tale by R2D2 or some shit like that. It's gonna have to be written by this guy because he's literally set foot in he's set. I don't know, wheel or whatever the fuck it is that he's dipped his little fuking droid toes in like every single.
We're getting a droid story, by the way, on Disney Plus.
The animated. I was saying last night I made the joke that he's kind of like the Wolverine of the Star Wars universe. We're like, just put him in everything. Right. Fine. He's on every team.
He doesn't age.
Yeah, he's an Avenger. He's everything,
Right. Yeah, he can get shot. He just gets kind of repaired again. He doesn't necessarily do it himself, but whatever.
And funnily enough, he's got a good amount of emotion for a robot. Let's think about it.
Yeah.
He's good with connecting with the audience. He's a great bridge.
He's the original cute. He's the original cute droid. He's the
He
original.
also taught me how cool smoking is.
Yeah.
That's my favorite anti-smoking commercial ever.
Just him.
But he looked cool as fuck, and I don't know what
He's got his little thing on. It's got a lit cigarette, and C-3PO
Oh, it
comes
was
in. It's like, R2, you have yourself a cigarette, or whatever.
Hey, woman, nerd. Oh, don't smoke.
Even though droids should be able to smoke all the time because they don't got no lungs, they ain't getting no
Right.
cancer. You know what I mean? So smoke up, Johnny. Like that's what I'm thinking with that
How
shit.
cool would a Beskar R2D2 be?
Wow. That would be OP, dude. You'd shut down Thrawn for sure.
Maybe we don't know. Maybe he is made out of. Well, he's not made out of because he gets damaged. But if you want to ensure that R2 is able to stay in the story for every single motherfucking Star Wars that ever gets made in the history of motherfucking America and the world, then that's how you do it. You dip that boy in Beskar and you get him.
Technically, he's responsible for the plans of for Luke knowing about Leia. He had the plans for the Death Star the whole time. I mean, dip that motherfucker in Beskar and protect him at all costs.
Exactly. He was the best man at fucking Darth Vader's wedding. Like he was there. Like the whole
been there
for everything. Like
he made that really embarrassing.
The new
speech.
Mandalorian.
R2 the Mandalorian. He is. Well, what is his crest gonna be? A cigarette? That would be.
Ooh, that would be sick, right?
But enough with the silliness. We all agree 10s for at least a finale. I'm gonna give the season a 9. You know, there were some episodes where like episode 2 was like, they probably could have even done more. Like, you know, some of the episodes were shorter, but they probably could have even done more with that episode. We'll go back to the Drace's first, and we'll go back around again. Like, I feel like a 9 is it was a really solid season. There was a couple episodes, side quests. I'm cool with that though as an RPG player, but I still felt it was really solid up there with some of the best TV. Like there wasn't like even though it's Star Wars, there was good drama, a really good mix. Like the choreography got better, the CGI was really good, the sound was, the costumes, like a solid 9 across the board for me.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, the tech nerd in me is super excited about this, the new like Unreal Engine backdrop immersion. Like honestly, it's going to change everything, especially with all the shows that are coming out now, having filming issues because of COVID. This changes, like drastically changes every single thing we will be watching in the future.
It does. It absolutely does, for sure.
We're going to get a lot less location stuff, but it means we're going to actually have a quicker turnaround on shows. We're going to have a way better immersive storytelling, shadowing, and things like that. Just like the way things interact is going to be so much different. It's going to free up a lot of space for directors to actually concentrate on telling a good story, as opposed to figuring out how much of their budget can they put into the reflection in somebody's glasses or something.
Right. You bring up a good point. Like, I remember going to prequels in the movies and being like, whoa, this is advanced. And now we're at a point where it's like, you can barely tell
awful.
the video. You can barely tell the difference between video games and reality. Like at some point, we're going to find out that the universe is a simulation. That's another story.
We're getting into the Westworld of it all right
how
there,
cool
buddy.
is it
Westworld flashbacks.
that we're getting the backgrounds are already done with the Unreal Engine, which is a video game engine.
Yeah.
So I know that, for all you Battlefront fans out there, when you're playing and you're in Jakku and you're like, oh my gosh, like this feels like I'm in the movie. Well,
right.
Like they can easily just make a video game of The Mandalorian where you're in The Mandalorian.
Well, they actually had one in development that ended up getting canceled back in the day. Remember that? So and a lot of people have been talking about that lately. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next 3 or 4 years, boom, we get like a Mass Effect Mandalorian type of game or some shit. You know what I mean? Like that would be super sweet. Morgan,
how would you guys rate the whole season?
The whole season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as a whole.
I'm gonna give it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with the 9. No, actually, you know what? An 8, because a lot of those episodes were too short. We had the time. We had the time, and like a spice iders.
The spice iders.
Ice spiders episode. You had so much room to like exposition a little bit. We had time in that episode. It was so short, and then it wasn't really it was fun. I loved watching it. I loved to finally get Ice Spider's biggest hounds on my screen. But
we could have maybe had maybe another 10 minutes of like Bo-Katan or something like that.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Getting to know those characters. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my only, or just a Moff Gideon monologue.
Ooh, and him talking to his
Give me some
officers or
Moff.
something like the dark troopers or some shit.
Yeah. So I'm a little bit. I'm gonna click them down too because they had more
That's
time.
fair.
To do
I
stuff.
think that's a fair rating, honestly.
Well, no, I mean, it is. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that this is a perfect season. I would go like an 8.5. I'm going like, I think it's like 8.5 because like the things that it does it incredibly well and the ways that I like to see Star Wars done. I think it has like a nice kind of patient, elegant, not as frenetic kind of a J.J. Abrams type of style. Like I think that I appreciate that element of it,
Thoughtfulness.
There's a thoughtfulness and a patience that I think that we haven't really seen since the original trilogy. Just like, I mean, because I remember when I did my rewatch kind of getting ready for it, there was like that one scene where it's just him and the egg and they're walking down, I think it was like a cavern or something right before like they get into a fight, but it just
episode 2, I think, of season 1.
Exactly. But you just get to watch him walk and you just get to watch these things happen. I mean, that's kind of the thing about Star Wars, at least for me growing up, was just like being able to kind of look at these worlds and sort of just like let the imagination wander a little bit. And I think that this, like front to back, it was chock full of them. But to Morgan's point, what I was saying, or what she was saying in regards to this show, very exclusively has tethered almost all of its focus and its story and its time on the two principal characters. And I think that it kind of robs a little bit of richness that we could have gotten from a Giancarlo Esposito or a Katie Sackhoff. Like the fact that we could never, ever really cut away unless it was the end of an episode and we're like, cool, we get three words from Moff Gideon and we're fucking done because we want to tee up the next episode. Like the fact that say the penultimate episode, episode 7, the whole, like maybe just once or twice, just cutting back to the ship and we get a little keyhole into what Moff Gideon's talking about, things that they're doing. We get to
like
dispel
a conversation about Baby Yoda or some shit, you know?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. Baby Yoda's on the ship. I mean, even though I thought it was cool because we wanted it to really have a lot of impact when we finally saw him again in his little tiny little baby handcuffs and shit. But like, insofar as like they were trying to make that have like a maximum effect, I guess. But to me, or at least in my opinion, I felt like you got people by the balls. People want to spend more time in this world, and I thought that they kind of robbed a little bit of a fullness of the story by not really by not letting themselves expand, like, you know, like to some other characters, you know, because clearly we're down for like a Bo-Katan. We're down to watch Moff Gideon do fucking anything. I'll watch that guy read the phone book. I don't give a shit. So, you know what I mean? Like for real, like he's that.
But you know what, Sean? We talked about this a little bit in our finale review, Helen.
Sure.
The fact that he's captured now, he's that perfect psychological like a prisoner turning people on each other, getting into that Civil War shit. Giancarlo Esposito is Gus Fring, all those characters. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't lose. He lost on purpose because, I mean, that's 100% clear. What I wanted to ask, do you think he wanted to kill himself because he knows who Luke is, right? He's intelligence, right? So he knows everything what happened to the Emperor. So he knows who Luke is. That literally this guy single-handedly, not really, but, you know, brought down the Empire. So... So did he want, because I think he didn't want the enemy to get the information he has because he literally knows everything. Because a lot of people are saying, no, he wanted to kill himself because he was afraid of Luke. I do not think that. So first of all, he set up the Mandalorian Civil War, which we will see, I assume, in season 3. He's so clever. A bit like Thrawn, you know, always a step ahead of him. He knew he can't win this, so he's setting up the Mandalorians. So
he's going to be like a little finger whispering into people's ears. And
100%. Yeah.
Are you saying that Operation Black Saber never ended?
Yeah, no.
This is the final stage of it.
Right?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I like that. I mean, I do think that we are going to have, they queued up a little bit of a Gideon Hannibal Lecter type, like where he's going to be in, like, you know, they'll be like, we need to figure out some stuff, and we're going to have maybe like either like a Cara Dune or a Cobb Vanth or somebody.
And Negan in prison, by the way, as well. That kind
I
of
was
situation.
thinking that same thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And so, like, we're gonna, but like we need to something weird's happening. There's been a disturbance in the, you know,
think of the Darksaber as the Iron Throne. Bo-Katan wants the Iron Throne. Is she gonna? She would definitely go through Mando, I think, to get the Iron Throne. I think
sure.
if I'm looking in at the situation, as much as Bo-Katan seems like an honorable character, she's trying to restore Mandalore. So her version of what is good may differ from the audience's view. Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's what they're kind of. Helen has been saying is crazy because Helen has been saying this since before the fucking season, and it's blowing my mind that it actually happened now because I thought.
Hello, we know that stuff Helen is predicting. Well, like when I
saw Luke, I'm like, Moff Gideon is dust. I'm like, oh shit, never mind. Never mind.
Sure. Yeah, I think that insofar as Gideon is concerned. I think he has a lot more to offer, but I think that and he'll just be like a little bit of every time they need like a slight exposition dump or whatever, they can always kind of pull that lever in whatever show that he ends up in. And I think that he could cut across a bunch of different shows. I think so. Yeah. I think that's cool.
It's crazy too because Giancarlo Esposito said there was going to be a cool fight, and that definitely happened. That was sweet. The spear. We didn't get a lightsaber fight, but that was a badass fight though. And he spoke like he's going to be involved for many seasons. So he's going to be this antagonist, and he's a really like his mind is like he's 100% Empire. He's not 99%. He's not 50%. He's 100% Empire, as opposed to someone like Thrawn, who's like 50-50. You know what I mean?
Right.
He's got
because Thrawn is not doing this for the same reasons. You know, he is literally like Thrawn is doing this for his people and for the sake of his people to save them, because he knows there's the Yusong Wong, however they will be represented in the new canon. But he knows there's a bigger threat out there. This is why he sided with the Empire. But Gideon doesn't care. He wants, like a career move. He wants to be the Morph. I think they're very different. And this is why I'm also predicting since a year that they will fight each other. I really do think Thrawn and Gideon in the long run, maybe not season 3, but in the long run will fight each other, because they have very different agendas. And I do think Gideon is the one, helping with getting Palpatine back on track and, helping with that. And I think Thrawn with the 7th Fleet, I hope they bring back the 7th Fleet. So I really do think he has a complete different agenda. And I think Thrawn will join with Ezra. So he has a Jedi on his side. And he will, because they must have seen stuff wherever they are, wherever the space worlds brought them.
Something worse than a Sith, maybe, if that's possible.
Yeah. So you're saying that you think Ezra turned to the dark side?
No, because Thrawn is not dark side. It's the same concept. Like, look, Count Dooku. He was not a Sith. Why did he not have red eyes? Because Dooku joined the Empire and became a Sith for a very different reason. He was fed up with the Jedi. He was very angry at the code of the Jedi, of what the Jedi didn't allow to do, because he was a count. He wanted to still hold his family values up, and he didn't agree, just like Qui-Gon, his Padawan, with the way of the Jedi. And so he didn't become a real Sith. And I think Thrawn kind of mirrors that. He is not really he's not there for the Emperor. He's there for different reasons.
He's not such a ride or die. I think the Empire is the best vehicle within to kind of express his means and stuff like that, and his goals. And it's similar to when Magneto would occasionally team up with the whole the X-Men for some reason, you know what I mean, or something like that. Where I'm just okay, for right now, I'm willing to fucking
because Magneto knew that there was something bigger, right? Than this.
That the humans were trying to eradicate the humans. He knew that they weren't going to change their minds, so he was he knew that perhaps. Charles Xavier and the other people were a little bit too optimistic about things, kind of like maybe we are about certain politicians in the world and shit like that. We won't get into that.
We're talking politics. We're just talking power.
But by the way, we have a superstar in chat, In Deep Geek, one of my best friends in the whole world. Robert, nice. So nice to see you. I hope you're having a great time. I saw your charity stream and it was fantastic, which Helen was on. And he actually, we're gonna shift gears a little bit, because that wasn't the only big thing that happened in the finale. The after credit scene was absolutely huge. The announcement of an 11th show that they're doing that's going to be coming out the same time as The Mandalorian next year. The Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett is sitting on Jabba's throne, and now that is Boba Fett's throne. Holy crap. A show with Ming-Na Wen as Fennec Shand and Tamora Morrison as Boba Fett. And we're getting that in December with The Mandalorian Season 3. They're both separate. So that
this is confirmed now, right?
Confirmed. Yeah. They confirmed it. They clarified it, because some people were like, "Oh shit, like, because the chapter 16, the chapter 4, all of the Mandalorian episodes are titled by chapter. They're like, oh, is the Mandalorian chapters over? No, it's not.
That's kind of what I mean. No, there was a little bit. I mean, or there was in my mind where I'm just like, and I think Dustin had brought that up, where it's like where it was like, oh, like this possibly we could go from a Mandalorian storyline each new season. So like Book of Boba Fett, then we have like the Book of Bo-Katan for fucking like season 4 or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't entirely clear.
Kind of like American Horror Story or something, like anthologies. Yeah.
You know, which I was a little worried about, because then I'm just going back to like I'm going to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and everybody's just going to be kind of like disappointed. You know what I mean? Like they're going to think that it's this continuation of this other story. But then we're just switching gears. But I think it was a smart move to make it just another show and to kind of leave us with like one more surprise, like in a season that was like fucking just chock.
And just to clarify, some people are asking in chat, wait, Amy Collins Russell says, wait, both are coming in 2029? Both are coming in December. Mandalorian season 3 drops on Christmas Day next year, and the Book of Boba Fett drops in December of 2021 next year. Both separate filming. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau on this. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau on Ahsoka. Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau on the Rangers of the New Republic. Mandalorian Extended Universe. That's what
I hope they got some underwriters, man, because that's just like I'm just getting tired just looking at that schedule. Like, you know what I mean? But Favreau, like, you know, was instrumental in building the MCU. Right. Like,
yeah, there was some confusing news. People thought The Mandalorian wasn't going to come out until 2022 because of that, and then they clarified. They're like, no, we're already starting with production and shit for The Mandalorian. Like the Mandalorian, okay, they have 86 million subscribers on Disney Plus already. Imagine once they get all these Marvel shows. And I mean, the amount of exposure, they're going to surpass Netflix in just a couple years. It'll be insane.
I think it's definitely in the cards. And I mean, and I do think that it's going to be. It's like I think Morgan had made the joke where it's going to be, or I think it was Morgan or Millie. We had talked about it where it's going to be like Angel and Buffy.
Kind of like Millie, yeah. I was like, I totally get it, yeah.
Right, which I think could be cool. I think that would be, you know, I think that, you know, kind of having like a double. You know, you get to have a whole evening where you watch. You know, I'm going to watch my stories. I'm going to be like my grandma. I'm going to be sitting down with my Star Wars stories. You know, so I think it's going to be cool. I'm super stoked for it.
Also, make sure you go subscribe to the Clueless Fangirl and at Sean Tank Top's Burlington Bars channel, which also features Dustin and Morgan. They make awesome content. I put the links in the description of the video, you guys. I always do that. Dustin's Twitch is also on there, and Sean's Twitch, Helen's social media. We got all of that in the description. If you guys want to go check them out, super easy. Just go click in the description of the video.
Thank you.
Sorry to continue with the conversation. A lot of people were asking in chat, and I was like, that's where you find it.
No, you're trying to get us some subs and stuff like that. I ain't gonna stop you, bud. Thanks a lot. your little Christmas present to me. I'm
so
into
Dustin,
it, man.
like Boba Fett, obviously had to glow up his armor. He got a nice paint job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He came back. He
made dad boards cool again.
Made dad boards cool again, and he was pretty good. Like he was pretty neutral. Like he was like neutral good this season, and then the after credit scene, that ominous music. Now we're going to more towards the neutral evil type of shit that we expected with Boba. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I'm so into it. Like, honestly, a couple people in the chat said the same thing. The Luke thing was great. R2-D2, I lost it.
Yeah.
And then we're like, you know what? Favreau invented the after credits scene. Let's stick it around. And, you know, we got rewarded. And when that scene happened, that was the coolest thing. It was just so unexpected, and to see like Bib Fortuna, and like it was just like I never thought I'd be so excited to see Bib Fortuna.
Yeah, Bib.
I repeat, Grogu is in chat. Grogu is in chat. He's back.
Grogu's back. He's a regular here. He's a regular. Yeah. Last time, General Kenobi showed up, and they had a chat.
They were conversing with each other. I'm like, this person has to have like 2 computers. Like,
he's hanging out. He's hanging out. I mean, like, he's hanging. I just want to say, like, to Grogu, like, I hope everything's going good at college. I know it's like an interesting time. Don't worry, you're gonna get used to the fucking dorm food and stuff like that. You know, like, but then I hopefully Kenobi shows up.
Watch out for a guy named Ben Kenobi. Watch out for him.
Okay.
Yeah, right?
Oh yeah,
no,
stay away from that bad boy.
Ben Skywalker. Yeah,
Ben Skywalker, sorry.
Definitely go to the table that is the farthest away from that movie where it's like, hey, who's that weird emo kid in the corner? Han Solo's my dad, but whatever, it fucking sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. Maybe they make friends, and maybe Grogu's a tiny little Knight of Ren somewhere.
The one who was cut out.
You couldn't see him.
And the stream, I don't think it can get any better than what Morgan just said. Baby Grogu as a Knight of Ren. That's why they didn't include them in the new movies, because they're going to be doing a movie on Knight of Ren, Grogu.
There you go. I know I'd be into it. Or they could even pull a George and they could do a special edition. They could just add like a little fucking guy like running around in the background whenever the Knights of Ren show up. I think that'd be. Oh no! And then like when Ben Solo fights him and stuff, like you could just like they add one shot where he just punts a little Knight of Ren into the fucking cat.
He's small enough to hide inside R2D2. So maybe that's a thing that could be going. But you're excited about Boba Fett, Morgan, or?
I am. I was like very excited that I hate when they have like the blue ladies chained up.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm glad that blue lady got free.
The Twi'leks.
Yeah. And and also if we're gonna get some Hutts, right? There's Hutt cousins out there.
Yeah.
I'm here for some Hutts. Make some baby Hutts. Like have a scene where a mama Hutt's holding a baby Jabba the Hutt, even though it's not Jabba the Hutt, that's what I'm gonna call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be the same thing as Baby Yoda. It'll be Baby Jabba. You know what
I want all the Star Wars babies.
Well, we had talked about it last night in our live stream where Stinky exists.
Stinky.
So Jabba, the Jabba baby, Stinky from Clone Wars.
He'd be all grown up.
Right, but he could be somebody that Boba Fett fights.
You know what's really interesting is
that had this love story that was in Clone Wars, right? And he had this other Hutt, and he had like a love story, and she fucked him over. What was that? Does anybody remember that episode?
I don't think. Well, no, we still we know. Like we've done like a little bit of lore diving, but we are actually gearing up to do a watch through, like a react series to Clone Wars. So we haven't done the deep dive. We
looked up things.
Right? Yeah.
It's
like how some people they didn't read the fucking Lord of the Rings book or they didn't read the Game of Thrones book, but they would go to the wikis and shit like that. You know what I mean? To look up stuff. I think that a lot of people do that now.
Speaking of wikis, I was looking up Nal Hutta and the criminal underworld, and we've been talking about possibly getting this like cool. TV show or movie where we get to learn about the kind of criminal underworld of Star Wars. And Nal Hutta is like this crime paradise, okay? And the Hutts, they're like mafia bosses. They got lots of money and sway in the galaxy. So for them to show up at the end of the they could have an impact on Mandalorian season 3 too. Like these are powerful people, and for them to do that, for Boba to take a throne, that is shots fired, literally.
And you can bring back, Crimson Dawn, because that was literally the only redeeming quality of the Solo movie, introducing, that underworld as well. And I do think we really will get that kind of vibe in a new show. But that was so good.
We could have plenty more appearances by Max Rebo. And we get more jizz music,
Dude, let's get some
which
jizz
is my number one want in any Star Wars franchise.
Jizz music.
Number one jizz fan over here.
I think a big old we're big jizz fans over on Sean Tank Top, on the Sean Tank Top YouTube channel for sure. But like insofar as because people, I remember kind of before like Baby Yoda kind of got introduced into the show, we were all kind of saying it's going to be like John Wick, but in Star Wars. And I think that the Book of Boba Fett is actually going to be that show. Like, I think that's more.
Well, look at the four ladies. Look at Fennec Shannon, Bo-Katan, and her crew. The four ladies were taking out stormtroopers. That was one of the most badass moments of all the seasons of Mandalorian.
100%. I mean, like, but insofar as like, I guess more insofar as like how the John Wick movies kind of deal with the criminal underworld, and that's like a big element of their story and shit. I think that's going to be a lot of what the Book of Boba kind of deals in and with or whatever it is. And so we're going to get, and also just like Robert, they brought in Robert Rodriguez
Oh my God, yes.
to be like a co-producer and stuff. So like if you liked that new beefed up badass Boba Fett shit that we got that we frankly never really have gotten, at least in live action
Robert
media.
Rodriguez is a G, man. Sin City, Dusk Till Dawn translates future Book of Boba Fett.
I want Ken Machete, please show up in that.
No. There's two. One thing that guarantees that we are getting fucking Danny Trejo in the Star Wars universe. Like that is happening.
That will happen. 100%.
That is happening.
And
We are gonna
for it.
We are gonna have that beautiful
That's a hype train, everyone. Danny Trejo.
That is so. I mean, like, but like, because we're gonna get that big, beautiful, mustachioed face, like in Star Wars, in some way. Another thing that we kind of mentioned on our stream last night, on our Mando Monday live streams that we did, was is there a scenario somewhere where
Get the shame bell ready.
Get the shame bell ready. But where because they're both really good friends. They have made movies together a bunch. You could possibly
Tarantino.
You could get an episode written and directed by Quentin Tarantino. Like that would be amazing. That would be but where you get the shame bell from is first because where my dumbass fucking mind goes, because I'm thinking, Tarantino shows up, it's like, so can we get a race of aliens, but they're entirely made of fucking feet, man. Like as long it's an alien, but it's a giant walking fucking foot, man.
Shame.
No.
We could get something like that because look at all. They got all these guest directors. Peyton Reed directed the finale. Yeah. They brought in Rick Famuyiwa. Obviously, he was great. I mean, they just had tons of different great directors.
So I think that it has never been more likely that we get a Tarantino directing a Star Wars property in some fashion. And that's actually, I don't think that he's going to go full foot alien, obviously, but I do think that that the prospect of that happening is very exciting and I think could be really fucking cool. And just to think of him on set. So fucking Boba Fett is going to come over here, man. You know what I mean? Like all that.
It's so funny that you said it's a Favreau thing too. It's like Marvel after credit scenes, Favreau, Iron Man, you know what I'm saying? Like directed a bunch of the Iron Man movies, in Spider-Man movies, and now he's overseeing him and Filoni. Like if it was just Favreau, I'd be like, okay, whatever. But now that's Filoni and Favreau overseeing 4 franchises, the Mandalorian extended universe. I'm telling you guys, they're great writers. They're plugged in directly with George Lucas. Yeah, George Lucas has some questionable decisions, but look at this.
Everybody does. That just
let's base our decisions off the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And if I'm going to base my opinion off that, I think that we're in for they're not going to do 7 seasons for each of these shows. You know what I mean? 1-2 seasons of Ahsoka, 6 episodes for Obi. There will probably be 8 episodes in total for Book of Boba, maybe 2 seasons or something like that. Rangers of the New Republic is supposedly going to get 3-4 seasons. That's just gas, though. That's just the fact that they even announced another show on top of the 10 shows. I'm just blown away. And by the way, we haven't even started talking about these other shows yet. So
right, totally, yeah. There's a lot of possibilities, and that's the most exciting thing.
We got Hacks Dogman in the chat, Vlad. We have Lady H of the North, the Purple, Leo Anansi. I'm trying to get all the shadows here. Liz Kopich, Lady H, Amy Collins Russell, Rick Hoppy's back in the chat. Makes Drift Coffee. He sends me coffee every month. Also a patron supporter. Thank you. Kate Bertinsky. And yeah, just awesome people in the chat. Just
and access in the chat. And I just want to clarify because apparently there's a rumor going on in the chat. I do love Han Solo. I mean, hello, every girl loves a baddie. Hello. I didn't like the movie Han Solo, the Solo movie.
Helen is pretty open-minded. Trust me, Helen's one of my top 5 friends in the world. Okay, and she's pretty open-minded. Okay, but she's a Star Wars purist. Just
That's true.
Let
Yeah.
her have her opinion. She's
Yeah,
got
exactly.
the-
Yeah, no. I think it's totally fine. I mean, like, I think that again, we've talked about this before. I mean, there is a flavor of Star Wars for every type of taste out there and shit. You know what I mean? And so and that's the cool thing is you can just kind of pick up like, oh, like.
Well, Sean, let's talk about some of that, some of the new announcements, some of the new flavors. Let's talk about them right now. What was your flavor of what was your scoop of ice cream that you liked from the Disney Plus Investors Day? Because there was a lot.
There was a lot.
Acolyte.
No, yeah. Acolyte
That's the
is
one
like,
that's like really early.
200 years.
Yeah.
Sorry. They said it was first 200 years, but now they announced it's only 50 years, which would fall, making it Darth Plagueis and a young Sheev Palpatine. Years.
okay.
That's
I mean,
what I've been talking about, baby. That's what I want.
Darth Plagueis is a really interesting character. There's a great book. What's the book called? Is it just called Plagueis? Plagueis, yeah. It's a great
Amazing
book.
book. Yeah.
I'm gonna put him in my top 10 dumbest Star Wars names. Darth Plagueis is every time
no, dude. Like I mean, like they're
Come on,
all.
Grievous.
Grievous is great. Like
Dooku.
Dookie Booty, he's the best. But
And
like,
Dooku, hello.
Yeah, no, I think that the Acolyte kind of. So it's going to be a lot closer to the
50,
timeline.
60, 50, 60 years, yeah.
You see, I'm going to say this. I maybe I don't like Star Wars as much as
I want no characters that I know.
No. I do not. Because the Acolyte, at least for me, is an opportunity to really kind of really make a splash in like a new kind of different era and stuff like that. Especially
Learn about
within,
the Sith.
Yeah, I mean, like to me, there's so many more interesting things. And again, it's great. Like, I'm sure it'll be sick, like whatever. But now I have to consider Sheev Palpatine. It's cool. Like, I mean, like he's always popping up when you don't expect.
It would be him as a kid. He would be really young.
Interesting. Okay, I mean, like, and again, maybe that could be cool. But I also I didn't really like the fact that we I didn't like the fact that we had like Anakin Skywalker when he was a little kid. I didn't like that we had Boba Fett when he was a little kid.
Oh no, but he was a cool kid. He killed his parents. Like his master made him kill his parents by lying to him.
Okay, Murder Kid could be cool. We need to talk about Palpy.
I mean, come on, Shan.
Whoa, we talked about Broom Kid last time. Now we're talking about Murder Kid.
Oh my God.
But Sean, please do the Palpatine for me. Palpatine and Yaddle scene. I mean,
now I'm just because you're expecting it. It's like a kid like eating like cereal or whatever, and it's like.
No, but I love.
Go,
I shoot myself with Palpatine.
The pathway to Lucky Charms leads to many abilities some would consider to be unnatural. You know, or whatever. It's like, could you please pass the orange juice, mother? Like, I was like, I don't want to go to the dentist today, mother. Like, that's what we do.
Who knows? Who knows? We're all speculating. They could not do Palpy, but I mean, the fact that they're trying to clarify it's going to be closer. We don't know for sure yet. Whether it's 200 years or 50 years, it's going to be interesting. Kind of like the fall of the golden age of the Jedi, which is pretty interesting.
I think that to me, I want to broaden the scope of the world, and the Acolyte is the closest version of that. I think that we can do.
Sounds like it could be Game of Thronesy, like with like politics and like betrayal.
I think the Acolyte is kind of what rose out of the ashes of whatever the fuck Dan and David were looking at. Because remember when they were hired? I think when they were hired,
yes.
they were like, where they were like, you guys are going to do a trilogy, and they're like, awesome.
Because me and Helen thought they were going to do like Knights of Old Republic stuff.
Yeah, and this is it's not exactly there, but it's closer to that. It's more knights, more stuff. And so I think that the Acolyte is is the phoenix that's rising from the ashes of kind of maybe what they were talking about with Dan and David, 2 years back. I think that's which again makes me excited. As long as it's handled competently and whatever, I think it could be really fucking cool. So
that's Helen's.
Can I just ask a question to the panel, because you are all Game of Thrones fans? What happened? Weren't they supposed to have a big Netflix show? So they said no to Star Wars. Where's that show?
Well, I think that they had said yes to both. I think that like at some point they were like, we're talking with Star Wars, and then they were like, we just signed a big Netflix show. It might have been a thing where, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're playing like, you kind of do that thing where you want people to kind of start bidding, where you're like, or like where you're talking people down in a price, or you're trying to talk up your own price or whatever. Maybe they were talking them at both the same time.
But now their names have become a little bit toxic, kind of like the Trump brand a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of what happened in season 8, if you think about it. And some of the actors and actresses spoke out. If you got a successful show like that, regardless of what's going to happen with George R. R. Martin's books, you maybe listen to them. You know what I'm saying? If you had that amount of success, listen to a Nikolai, listen to a Kit Harington. I'm not saying you have to take their advice, but to shut them out, that was some of the stuff that started to come out towards the end, and maybe started to get into some of the production too, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How cool was the redemption arc for Peyton Reed, where everybody was like they were kind of dogging on him after like the earlier episode that was kind of, everybody's like, I'm not really into this episode.
Because he did the Space Spider episode, the Ice Spider one.
Yeah. And then they purposely withheld the director of the finale. Right. And everybody kind of figured it would be Favreau or Filoni or some big name. And they gave it to Peyton Reed, right around the same time that they announced Quantum Mania. There's probably no coincidence about that, like timing wise, but he did a great episode. He really pulled it through. So it's just like interesting to see how the fandom was like, oh no, Peyton Reed.
They'll forgive you.
And then they're like, oh,
the Ant-Man movies are really nicely written. I think the story in those movies are great.
I'm talking more like after Ice Spiders. I'm sure he was like, I'll read, and like everybody wasn't that into it. Even though I liked that episode.
It was a fun episode. I think right. I think we just didn't get a lot.
I mean,
But after seeing Sasha Banks' character, after seeing some of the other Mandalorians, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, like, why don't we get more of that? And then we get more of Frog Lady. Like, people were like,
But there is a certain plot, and he didn't get those parts in his story. If he couldn't choose, he couldn't have thrown into his episode, because that was just not the case, right? So he did with the material he had. This is what directors do, right? You get a script and then you direct.
Follow it,
Exactly.
There's actually a really interesting question. We'll insert it here. Thank you, Purple Lord Leo and Anansi. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Am I the only person who wants to move away from the Skywalker saga? Isn't Star Wars big enough that we can see something else? We're going to talk about some of these other projects that are going to be kind of moving away from that, because some of the other shows are definitely away from that. But yes and no. You know what I mean? I think I would have been happy with an Ezra in the finale, or no Jedi, and Moff Gideon still having Baby Yoda. But I think that the way they did it was they did it for a specific reason, not only because it fit in the story, but because I think Star Wars fans needed it. You know, and I think they really did. After a shit 2020, okay. And after what happened with the 3 movies, Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni understand the fans. They know what the fans like, and I don't think it's going to be all Skywalker. I don't think we're going to get a lot of what we saw in the finale going forward. If that's kind of answering your question, Purple Lord. But I understand your sentiment about that. So to answer that question, sorry, back to the conversation.
No. I think I mean, it's what I said before. I'm a little bit on that train, but hey, I mean, like, as long as they do it, if it's well done, I'm all for it. I mean, like, it kind of depends. It's like a meal. Sometimes it's in how you cook it and stuff like that. Like this type of Luke, it was really fun. They handled it pretty well, except for the face was a little wonky, and I'm just never gonna fucking think that it wasn't, and whatever. But but it was still like a cool, awesome moment. It was very cathartic for a lot of people, and I'm glad people are having a good time with it. So yeah,
we wrapped up most of our thoughts for the Mandalorian season finale. Got a little bit into the Acolyte, which is going to focus on the High Republic. Where Helen thinks there's a possibility of Yoda, which is going to be touching more on the Skywalker saga. So some of you don't want to see that. That's a possibility of someone that we could see in the High Republic. Like we said, Darth Plagueis is something that's really interesting, and maybe even Plagueis' master, if we're going back a little bit before that, who is a Twi'lek, I believe, right? Acolyte, Helen. We talked about him in the previous episode with Aziz. Some of the other ones that were announced, let's talk about some other ones. Which one were you excited about, Morgan and Dustin? Which of the 10 shows were kind of really piquing your interest?
Which one's the gay one?
That's
the one I'm on.
yeah.
The Acolyte.
Oh, that is the Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
No.
Oh, is it another one? Which one is it?
What is a gay one?
Maddie
What do you mean, Morgan?
Maddie told me that there's a gay one coming out, and I was very excited.
Visions?
I don't know.
You're talking about like the fact that like it's
One of the characters is like it's like the main character is like either.
I think it's the Acolyte.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Acolyte. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
My bad. Okay, then I'm still excited about that
Which
one.
is the gay one?
I always want everything. I want gay main character. I just do. Always do.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
But also,
it's really interesting to see all the different opinions. Like, they're mostly positive, even though there's some negative comments. It's just like, see how passionate everyone is about their own personal like favorite thing about Star Wars and chat.
Well, so far as to have again, I think the point that Morgan's making is that we can actually sort of see something like that actually have
representation.
Some weight within the story, as opposed to just Disney patting themselves on the back because two girls kissed in the background of Rise of Skywalker. Like, I think it's more. I think that's kind of more.
That's pretentious. That's just to tick a box. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, like
the character is like that's part of their character, but it's not like all their character. But it's like we never get to see that in the Star Wars so much. Like just like and then that's my ex-girlfriend, whatever. Like. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah,
the representation thing is a good thing.
Yeah. So I think it's the reason she was saying that is because the Acolyte is going to be the series is led by Leslie Headland, who did Russian Doll.
Ah.
So that's why.
Very popular show on Netflix.
Yeah.
About like a Groundhog Day type of scenario if you haven't watched it.
I know.
What one are you excited about?
I honestly. I will take your question. I'm going to flip it and not answer your question correctly. I'm going to say the show that needs to do the most to win me over, because Helen brought it up, is going to be Visions. Because I am not actually much of an anime person, despite, like Avatar, The Last Airbender, not an anime. But it's anime-esque. It's not really my world. And, so like Visions is supposedly a very like Japanese anime. They're going to have to do a lot. So that's the one I want to be proven wrong about.
Okay.
I want that to be great.
Avatar, because you're like me, Avatar isn't like your top 5 favorite shows ever.
I mean, Avatar is amazing.
Love Avatar.
But
like, we before that, like I know Avatar is like in the... It's in the world of anime.
It's like an anime adjacent. It's like Western anime. Basically.
But I was like, I don't fuck with anime. I don't understand it. Like I don't know.
There's a couple more animated ones as well. Bad Batch, Clone Wars title gets up, and then we're gonna get that's kind of gonna be very much like Clone Wars. Nothing against it. I'm excited for it.
I was kind of hoping Bad Batch would have been live action.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
But I mean, because they've already got Ming-Na Wen in the Book of Boba, so and she's also in the Bad Batch, I believe.
So. She's going to be voicing Fennec in Bad Batch, which is another cool announcement.
I like that continuity for sure. That continuity is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the Boba Fett is probably like pretty high up there. It's like Boba Fett's going to be great. Obi-Wan, I'm really excited. I like that director a lot. She's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what they do with that. Ahsoka, they did a great job with her in this season of Mando. I'm really excited to see where that comes into
Filoni's
play.
going to be the main dude with Favreau on that one. So
that should be an A-lister. So there's a lot of great. I'm gonna watch all of it. So. who am I kidding?
I'm going to quit my job and start watching Star Wars. I get a Star Wars channel. But listen, people, what I just realized, because this is literally my favorite Jedi. Yes, I love Obi and I love Luke, but actually my favorite Jedi is Qui-Gon Jinn. Because I just love the story of the Grey Jedi, and he, as a first Jedi, really understood what they were doing wrong and what Jedi were supposed to be and what the Force is. So he was the first who managed to become a Force ghost. So apparently, this is what I heard, he will be in the Obi show, showing up as a Force ghost, teaching
Liam Neeson?
Yes, teaching him.
Liam Neeson?
Yeah, teaching him.
Oh.
I mean, how epic!
There we go.
Pretty exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow, they're bringing back Hayden Christensen. They're bringing back Lee, and by the way, Ewan McGregor can carry that show by himself. Okay,
Sure.
but
Is
to
that
have
confirmed?
that
Is that like an
that's
actual
confirmed,
thing?
Helen?
No, this is a rumor. No. It's
Okay.
a rumor. Nothing is confirmed. I think I read that on Variety or somewhere. But they're filming, so apparently he will see. But a lot of people are visiting sets, so I don't know.
Chat, some hype for Qui-Gon Jinn, perhaps.
I mean, because I really, I love the story, and this is what I'm always preaching. Like, this is kind of a circle, right? Like, Yoda was the master of Count Dooku. Count Dooku taught Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon taught Obi. Obi taught Anakin, and so on, right? And I really love that idea. And Qui-Gon is such a cool and interesting and underrated character. And if you really want to read a good book, which is canon now, it's Master and Apprentice, and it's about Qui-Gon. It's such a good book. It's about Qui-Gon and Obi and their relationship, because Anakin and Obi's relationship was very special. It was like brothers. This is what they say, but this is wrong according to the Jedi, right? And it's so cool about the Jedi code and what the Jedi got wrong. And
Qui-Gon was more, I don't want to use the word gray, but he tried,
spiritual.
but he tried to understand the dark side to enlighten himself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes, you need both. You need light and dark, and this is what they're playing on with the family, with the sister and the brother and the father, and all that light and dark. You need dark so light works, right? So you need both, and Qui-Gon understood that in a way, and the Jedi in the temple and the Jedi masters of that time didn't. And I really love the all the canon behind that and the stories there. And so if he teaches Obi, because you see a complete different Obi than from the prequels, right? Like the Obi in the OGs is very, calm, fighting Darth Vader in a very different style. And he's very, like his mannerism, everything is very different. And I do think Qui-Gon taught him that. That might be the explanation.
Interesting.
And
okay.
I love that.
Yeah, I think, I'll tell you this, even though I know everybody's very excited for Hayden to kind of get back into the story and stuff like that. I'm way more interested in having a Liam Neeson and like a cool, contemplative, interesting bit of stuff between Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson, and maybe some character work that they didn't really get a chance to do as much of as maybe they wanted to or possible in episode 1. I think that's because I think that kind of seems to make more sense. I mean, or at least you would
I think
think
the show's going to be more like a spy thriller. So to have that more like meditative Obi, like regretful Obi, like all of these different emotions in this person who knows he lost one of his best friends and brother, someone he loved in Anakin, and then having to go back to search for answers with someone like Qui-Gon would be really fucking cool.
And just like his whole life is basically kind of preparing for the moment where he is eventually going to kind of basically reinsert himself into the story of the Skywalkers at some point when the time comes. And that's the most interesting element to the movie. I know that they're kind of gearing up for like this big rematch type thing between Darth Vader and him. I think that was like a Kathleen Kennedy quote where she's like the rematch of the century, which is a little weird. I'm not exactly sure how that is because then like in A New Hope he's going to be like, I felt a presence I've not felt since like last week or something. You know what I'm saying? Like insofar as it kind of robs the moment in A New Hope. I mean, like, and I'm sure it's going to be fine and it's going to be great. And it's gonna be pretty wild and stuff. But I do think that the Qui-Gon Obi-Wan Kenobi relationship, I think, is a lot more to me one that I'm way more interested in. I hope that they go. I'm rooting for you to be right on that one, Helen. I want all the correct vibes over with Helen on that.
Obi-Wan,
sure.
by the way, is only going to be a limited series. People in chat, 6 episodes.
Yeah. Six
episodes of 40 minutes to an hour. That's perfect.
Sure.
That's like basically getting a movie trilogy, if you think.
Yeah,
about it.
essentially.
Yeah.
And I want Bail Organa to come back, please. And I want him to meet,
Jimmy Smits. Yeah.
Baby Leia. Yeah, but he could it would still work with all the actors. And, he could check on Baby Leia and whatever age Luke and her are. I assume they're young children. And so that could be so cool. And Ashoka could show up. The Obi show, yes.
Also, another show that could touch more about this side of Star Wars is the Lando show. Donald Glover rumored to be coming back, possibly as Lando. That would be a huge get because not only is he a superstar in music, he's a great actor as well. He has a great show called Atlanta. Yeah, so, I mean, Morgan, just get in on it. What do you think about that? That's a pretty big deal. Donald Glover maybe as Lando.
I mean, he's just the perfect Lando. There is no other young Lando other than you get Billy D. Williams in a DH.
Yeah, let's
DH Billy.
Don't
DH him. Don't do that.
Yeah. No, I know.
So you don't have to do that because you have a Donald Glover. So I hope that rumor is true.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be sad if they didn't. One of our collaborators, Emil, was saying, what if we got Lakeith Stanfield as a young Mace Windu? Which would be, the Atlanta crossover vibes real hard, which I would be so into.
I watch it for sure.
Okay, the Lando vibes would be really cool.
In a Star Wars, regardless, it doesn't have to be Mace. Just get him in there. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm all about
the Lando show could be more like cool, fun cantina vibes, more like funky. You know what? Like it'd be more like that. That would be like more like Han Solo-esque because Lando is like Han Solo.
Yeah, like a lovable rogue.
A lot of spice running.
A lot of spice running, a lot of
the cape budget alone. The cape budget will be out of control.
Cosplayers are already just like,
I mean, that could kind of be like a very kind of like a fun kind of that lends itself to an adventure of the week format a lot too. Like where you're talking, it's like Lando, kind of like Miami Vice type shit. But you're a scoundrel that likes to gamble and shit. And I think that's where, and I'm fine. Bring Alden Enric or whatever the fuck is, I can't remember his name, but
Enric,
yeah, right. I can't remember his name, but the name that sounds like you're sneezing when you say it. But bring Alden back, and even like Emilia Clarke, because I thought that Emilia Clarke did a good job in Solo. I like Kira a lot, and so that's one way that, and I don't think that you necessarily have to bring them in, but that's like those are new characters, like especially her. She's a new character that I want to see explored. And yeah, you could pop Alden back in there one more time.
You know what's interesting about the Mando? Helen has greatly illuminated and highlighted the kind of outskirts, the outer rim life of people like Cobb Vanth, someone who retired from service and is serving as a marshal in Mos Pelgo. But then we get the Lando kind of side of the Mandalorian, like two sides of his the same coin, more of like the fun, you know what I mean? Like it could be like the space adventure without the Baby Yoda, but kind of the fun, more like corporate, going into kind of like making deals and like space piratey shit. And I think that's really cool. That's like a cool, different vibe. Similar to Mando in some ways, but also different because it's not focused on more of like this kind of coming of age story. It's more about it's more like a little bit self-absorbed, which is totally fine.
It'll be a lot more slick and stylish and kind of like fun, I think.
I also feel that like the Lando show is a great opportunity to do like a Ludwig Göransson Daft Punk collaboration. I want that.
You were just
so bad.
Daft Punk.
Because like there's moments where it gets kind of weird and synthy. Like I was saying that Luke's like saber scene, that was a Daft Punk moment. Like that was a Daft
remix,
Punk Tron remix, lightsaber battle.
The French guys to be on their keyboard doing kind of
and like have them inside the robots inside of the Death Watch.
Or the German. What's the German band? The synthesizer band from like the 80s. Kraftwerk. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. By the way, if you guys want to check out fun dance parties, Sean Tank Top, Twitch.tv, Dustin also DJs. Great music. So we're on a kind of agreement on the Lando stuff. It's going to be fun. Disney has the budget to get Donald Glover. We're not disputing that. Like they're not going to cast the wrong person as Lando.
All of the money. I think that we're literally going to have to just like look at like world GDP and just be like the Disney will eventually be its own nation state essentially, which is like how much money that shit like kind of has accrued over the years.
There was a rumor where MGM is back up for sale, which MGM has like the James Bond franchise, and so like
yesterday,
and
right?
Disney owned it at one point, which I don't know why they got rid of it. So like Disney could just own that and Mission Impossible, so like, they could just buy that too.
Imagine
whatever.
if they get those in more
right now.
blockbuster movies. My God, they would just own everything.
And just imagine, because right now, since almost a year, the parks are not really running, right, on full capacity. Just imagine they're building all these worlds. I mean, take my money. I still want to go to the Millennium Falcon.
Me and Helen have a trip planned there at some point. We want to go, but I mean, pandemic, come on, we can't do it.
Yeah,
no, in summer, Queen of Thrones, Orlando, where all Sean already promised, Sean owes us a lot of drinks, and yeah, we'll have them at the cantina in Orlando. It's happening.
Yeah, well, if hopefully Con of Thrones happens next year, we can all get together and we can have a discussion like this in person, which would be cool.
Yeah, that would be killer.
It would be amazing.
So Lando, we all want to go to a cantina that would be featured in Lando in person next year. All vaccinated, hopefully.
Yeah. Show me your fucking vaccination card, you fucking weird
Show me your number, you bastard, or I'm slapping you.
Like 100%.
Then we also got 2 shows. We talked a little bit about Ahsoka. I don't think we need to talk too much about that other than like Rosario Dawson kind of got the perfect amount of story in season 2 of The Mandalorian. I would have liked to see her in another episode, but I think they really that was a beautiful episode. Okay, perfect. Like bringing her back, saving Grogu would have been kind of different and like whatever. But having Dave Filoni with that's Dave Filoni's character. So we don't even need to talk about that. That is going to be good. Rosario Dawson, I mean, she's a prime A-list actor. You know what I mean? So it's
I think that's his baby, that's his brainchild, and so I think that him kind of being the one to shepherd that kind of into existence, and kind of following the whole the whole kind of thrawn of it all. I think that's I mean, like, I don't want to say slam dunk, but I think it's if that one episode is any indication, if that's the kind of backdoor pilot, then I think that show's going to be killer. So
the Kurosawa-esque, the Jedi vibes,
sure.
the more
Absolutely.
lore mythology side of that. And Rosario, I think she watched some Clone Wars because her mannerisms, the way she carried herself was like very Ahsoka-like, and I was like really impressed by that.
Totally.
So Ahsoka obviously is going to be interesting. And then Rangers of the New Republic, which could have like Cara Dune. And then we had that episode with Mayfeld, which was super cool. So some of these characters that are kind of like, I don't want to see like the A-list, kind of have like a ragtag group of people that are former Republic or Empire, and they kind of get together like in Avengers, and you have a people kind of like a squad. This would be kind of more like a squad show, like a Grief Karga, all of the characters that maybe get 1 or 2 episodes in The Mandalorian to get, maybe more screen time in the Rangers of the New Republic.
I think that's going to kind of be like their Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. It feels like it, doesn't it?
I mean, like, where
they're just going to, like, Cara Dune's going to be like, I met Mando. Like, it's just got, whereas Coulson's always like, I met Thor. It's kind of like,
No, I think that there will be. I mean, like, I think like the whole kind of like the nuts and bolts of how the actual how you run a functioning kind of galactic government, and like the nuts and bolts of just kind of not getting people to fall in line necessarily. That sounds like Empire talk.
Are you talking about Order, Sean?
Are you saying the New Republic's now in the Order?
Are you Empire?
No, man, dude, secret hashtag, the Empire did nothing wrong. No, but
I'm with you, Sean. Like, yes.
I mean, You're on the sheep train over there. Oh no, but insofar as the just like how I think that's going to be where we get a lot of just like the whole like how kind of a lot of regular people sort of like exist in Star Wars and in that vacuum after Return of the Jedi. And I think that's the show where you can soak up like the Cobb Vanth. Where that's the show where you can soak up where
he could be a lead. He was so friggin' good.
That's what I'm saying. We've been saying it since episode 1 of this one. I mean, there wasn't.
I think other than Ahsoka, he was the best casting of season 2.
He was awesome, and he fit the shit like a glove, and he was just that face was just so lovely and bearded and fuckable and shit, and like it was great, and so like I think him.
Are we talking Dr. Pershing?
We're talking Timothy. We're talking Timothy. Helen!
Bursting over there for sure.
Chad, I'm sending my whole panel to horny jail.
I love the skinny nads.
But insofar as like, I think Cobb Vanth, Bill Burr, Grief Karga, all that. I think that's kind of where all that and Cara Dune and all that stuff. I think that's kind of what's going to be kind of soaked up by that a little bit. And those guys, the X-wing dudes that kept showing up, right? Like the Miami Vice, like X-wing pilots that kept showing up. Like
those guys.
And they're doing a Rogue Squadron movie, which they also announced Patty Jenkins, who directed Wonder Woman. Her father was also a fighter pilot. So she knows her shit. That's coming out in 2023. That's going to be a great movie. I think, obviously people are like, TV's the new medium for Star Wars, but that'll be a good movie if Patty Jenkins is the director.
They're still doing feature films and stuff. I don't think that we should give up on that just yet, despite like how successful this has been. And also, Patty Jenkins is just
Taika Waititi also got a movie.
Yes,
so Patty Jenkins, Taika Waititi, they're picking really quality directors. Like Thor Ragnarok was just excellent. Make a funny Star Wars movie, you know what I mean? Like he could totally do that.
I think that I think that what we're going to see, I think hopefully what this whole thing is kind of building up to is just that we can wring a lot more out of the Star Wars like kind of brand, or a lot different types of flavors of Star Wars than I think I think that it's going to be like we can have kind of a comedy Star Wars. We can have kind of like a more of a badass Star Wars.
Without reducing its quality too much.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's what a lot of these things are aiming to do is to kind of strengthen that brand in a way,
Yeah. So everybody can, you can introduce it to literally your 7-year-old, right? And still the generations of our parents who've seen the OG movies in cinemas are also happy. Like, question people. Did you are your parents Star Wars fans? Did your parents introduce you to Star Wars?
Ooh.
Not at all, other than we had all the toys.
Yeah.
I grew up with all the toys. We would watch Star Wars like on TV, so they're not they know what it is. But my parents are not big movie people in general.
Okay.
Your
Casual
mom
fans.
was into it, right?
No. I choked. Here's a weird fun fact. My mom took me to so I'm old as shit. So my mom took me to go see a movie. It was like early 1981, 82, and I choked on a fucking lifesaver, and she had to rush me out of which it's got a goddamn hole in it. How did I choke on that? I don't understand. I don't remember this, but it's so basically she was mortified of taking me to a theater. So I saw, and I also remember seeing E.T. in the theater and being fucking terrified. Sure. So I had to go see Star Wars on my own because my mom was like, "I'm not going into a theater. You might die."
E.T. Great movie.
Was Return of the Jedi? Was that the first Star Wars that you saw in the theater? Did you go? That?
Yeah, because I was born in '78, so
that was 1983. Wasn't that? No, that was. Was that 1983? Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, 83 is when 83.
So maybe, yeah.
So you would have been about 4 or 5. So you'd have been the perfect age.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. There you go.
And I watched all the TV shows. I watched all the Ewok movies. That was my jam.
Oh yeah, I was obsessed with those movies. But my main reason I know, as a child, I knew what Star Wars was real talk was the Muppet Babies Star Wars special.
Oh,
They
sure.
literally had straight footage from the real movies just in it.
Yeah.
That was the most Star Wars I consumed over and over again was Muppet Babies.
No, I remember my grandma Margie, who she was like my kind of like, I don't know, she was like my nerd film cinema, like kind of Obi-Wan in a way, because she loved all that stuff. She would tape stuff off the TV all the time. So the first time that I ever got shown a Star Wars was Empire Strikes Back, taped off the television, complete with like commercials and shit.
Yeah.
Like, I remember there's like a Pennzoil ad that happens like right after Darth Vader, like right after Darth Vader chokes out Admiral Piet and he fucking falls down dead or whatever, some shit, and then right after like it dun, 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 come to the Pennzoil or whatever the fuck it was. I remember it because I wore that fucking tape out so hard. So my grandma Margie was like the first one that kind of like showed me that stuff, and then my cousin Neil was he was another one where he's like
Sounds like a movie. Sounds like a Tarantino movie. My cousin Neil could be a Tarantino movie title.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, my cousin Neil, he was kind of he gave me like the advanced class where like once I was all into that stuff, he was like no, like he showed me like all of my first like Indiana Jones, and he showed me Gremlins and Gremlins and shit, like and like all that kind of that kind of 80s kind of nerd like gruel like stuff that
my parents like that stuff, but then I really got into it with my cousins, kind of like you guys.
Cousins,
Dude. They were like 5, 6, 7, 8 years older than me. They were like listening to punk rock and like they were.
There you
like,
go.
You know what I mean? Like I got like Bad Religion and like Rancid and all that. Like when I was like starting to get of age, and then I was getting into comics. Like I was always into comics, and they would show me cool shit because I was interested in what like they were doing. You know what I mean? So like I wanted to be cool, and then they were looking at all this cool shit. Now we all have the same interests because we're all similar in age. Now we're all old, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like how we all have this origin story for Star Wars or Marvel.
How about you, Helen? What's your Star Wars origin story? Did your folks show you that?
I don't even remember. I just remember watching the movies when I was super young. I think it was with my parents, but I also remember watching all the like. My mom and dad had different schedules when they were working and stuff, so I had babysitters a lot, and all my cousins babysat me because I have no brothers or sisters. So they were kind of like, you know what I mean? Like we would have movie nights or like game nights, and we would always play games or movies, and that's how I got into like Star Wars and Marvel and collector's cards and comics and books, like Choose Your Own Adventure D&D books and shit like that because my cousins were into it. And that's kind of how I got into it, kind of about like just being like, oh, I want to be like, because they're older and cooler than I am. I want to know what you're doing. And then I learned about it. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm cool now, you know?
Yeah, 100%. You want to sit at the big kids table, right?
and I feel like a lot of stories are similar like that too. Like some people, it could be their parents, but some people it's like their like older brother or sister or like cousin or something. They're like younger, and then they saw something of interest, and then they like got taught about it. Like you know, like my cousins told me about it, and I was like, okay, cool, you know.
Totally.
Well, I remember, like, because I was a kid growing up in Germany, right, in the 80s. I'm an 80s bitch. You know, the first scene of Star Wars, my dad showed it to me on TV because I was not born when they were running in cinemas. And my dad showed it to me, and he literally, I remember how he scanned me when I saw the scene of Darth, of Anakin and Luke, when he tells him, I'm your father. And I was looking at my dad and I was like, what? No.
Right.
What? No. I remember that my dad was sitting there and trying to understand if I'm an only child as well. And I basically grew up as a boy, although I dress up as Wonder Woman, but I'm a very, I'm not a typical girl. And he looked at me and he was like, yep, this is my daughter. And I always, you know, on Carnival, we always dress up in Germany, and every girl wants to be a princess and whatnot, or some Rapunzel or whatever, a grim fairy tale character. And I wanted to be Boba Fett. And so my mom... Yeah, and so my mom, Leia, Boba Fett, and so my mom was always like, can't these it be normal and please not? So she had to make me, this weird Boba Fett stuff and look at, because the internet obviously didn't exist at that time. So she had to look up pictures, I don't even know where, in magazines or wherever.
Magazine, like Nerd Magazine, Star Wars Insider and shit, yeah.
Yeah, and so that was, so she knew how to do the costumes for these characters. So yeah.
Okay, now I have a question. So Lord of the Rings are unquestionably holiday movies. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, Fellowship of the Ring.
Got elves in it.
Yeah.
Got elves in it.
Got elves. Yeah.
That's it, Morgan. It's bigger than that.
Oh my God.
Legolas on the shelf. Is that what you're calling
That
it?
might have been one of the best. That might have been one of the best comments we've ever had on the channel. To be honest, it has elves in it.
That was a mic drop.
Oh no, I guarantee I read that in a tweet or something.
Okay.
So somebody let me know who I stole that from.
But regardless,
Lord of the Ring memes are the best. We can agree on that, right?
They are, yeah.
Chad, by the way,
I was wonder when the Westfold fell.
Yeah, best trilogy Lord of the Rings is unquestioned. I don't care what anyone says in chat. By the way, you can comment in chat and say that Lord of the Rings is the best trilogy, okay? But Star Wars movies. Are Star Wars movies holiday movies? This is a question. It's a hard one. I've seen people debate it. This is a holiday spirit
are we
stream.
counting didn't a couple of them come out over Christmas?
They are, like,
they've become
the new ones. They've been coming out at Christmas.
The new one, the Disney era has kind of decided to take it. I think because they saw how well, like, Avatar did, the James Cameron one, and it's like, oh yeah, like that's a time, like, and it's a generational
where families
thing.
Are together and they go to the movies,
and also that's a great time to start building up, like, yo, you guys want to buy some toys and shit like that. So December makes sense for Star Wars in that, when you're kind of looking at it business
and
sense.
they always come around like December-ish.
Exactly.
Time.
Even though before they were summer films, which I will say, like, sitting in a line to get into a fucking movie theater outside during December in the Midwest is a fucking bummer because, like, because before it would be like May or June or whatever the fuck it was, and it was like, yeah, of course I can stay outside. No, I got my flip flops on, I got my tank top on, it's fine. You know what I mean? But insofar as, like,
you say that as if you weren't going to wear a tank top all year round.
I mean, that's like, it's just par for the course. That's just my normal, but now the whole, it's become kind of more of a Christmas, a family, a generational thing. So I think that there's a little bit of that for sure, especially right now.
Also, Hacks Dogma says Die Hard is also a Christmas movie.
Sure.
I'm agreeing with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I will say that my personal, I have two because, I have to go with it all. It's a Wonderful Life is my favorite Christmas movie.
Dude, I'm with you.
I think that's the best.
I don't
Christmas
even
movie.
know what that is. What?
It's a Frank Capra movie from the 40s. It's a very, like,
Black and
sentimental,
white,
feel good, like, type of movie starring Jimmy Stewart. I recommend watching it. It's a very very.
Helen, you'll cry.
I probably
I tear up every time.
know it. I probably know it. It just has another name because obviously we give everything another name in Germany.
Right, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
It's got
It's the one where the little-
there's a Grinch in it. There's a Grinch in the movie. His name is not the Grinch.
Maybe it's Don't Be Sad on Christmas and Kill Yourself. Is that the name of it?
In German. No,
I just love Bad Santa. Can we agree, Bad Santa?
Bad Santa's a great
Like, seriously.
Will Ferrell hater, so I'm not going to accept this in chat. Elf is my other favorite Christmas movie. Okay,
Elf is a great movie.
Elf is a great movie. Elf is. I watch it every single Christmas Eve at my aunt's place. Yeah.
Dude, you gotta think
And
about
Peter
that.
Dinklage is in it.
Absolutely. No, you got to think about that. It's crazy. Like, Favreau is, like, low key, like, a genre master because, like, what is he? He kind of keeps coming in and trying out, like, these new things and making this really big sea change. Like, he comes in, he makes a Christmas movie, and it's one of the best modern Christmas movies out there that's become, like, a classic. He makes he basically sets the template for the fucking MCU, and now he's kind of like,
he sets the template, but he took, like, what was, like, only Superman was, like, and like the early 80s Batman movie. He made modern superhero movies. I mean, he is the template. How
we know it, because at that point it was like he was either kind of a Nolan or like a Favreau model, kind of at that point. And like, and so, like, he's kind of interesting in that way, where he's just been like, every time he kind of dips his toes into something, the ripple effect is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Couples Date, that was just such a classic, man.
I never saw that.
I've seen it more than once, unfortunately.
Home Alone are also Christmas movies.
Oh,
One and
yeah.
two.
That's not even a debate.
You're just naming off Christmas movies now, people.
Yeah. I mean, I would argue that Scrooged is a Christmas movie.
And the best thing about Home Alone are those memes that say, the older I get, the more I want to know how they could afford that house, a trip to Paris with 20 people.
Father.
I love that meme.
The father is a full-on white-collar criminal. 100%. Cannot convince me of anything else.
There are theories out there because it takes place in the suburbs of Chicago where we're in the Drase are from. And so it's also like a theory that the father is like in the Chicago mob.
No.
100%. Also,
that.
other twist, Kevin McAllister grows up to be Jigsaw. From the Saw movies. He is good at movie
canon?
traps.
Morgan, is that canon?
It is canon.
Wow.
Google it. Look it up, people.
Is that because he says you want to play a game?
That deserves a fucking
Yes.
hype train.
Well, no, not just that. Kevin McAllister's whole deal.
Right.
He's really into like good and bad and like appreciating. Just look it up. There's a million explainers.
I'm never
going
to be able to unthink this now that when I watch the movies again.
Yeah, welcome to hanging out with. Imagine being married to Morgan.
Dark
what do you think
theories
my
on the
life is
internet.
like?
Right. No, I mean, like, no, but that is like, Home Alone. Yeah, there's a ton of really that, and also just like that. He's just like, no, I want them to come in here and like so I can kill them. Like I'm.
They must be punished.
Like right. So, punishment. Right. For sure.
So
Filthy animals.
Also, all of his booby traps, if they didn't set them off, they wouldn't have.
God.
Just like Jigsaw.
Right, totally, 100%. Right,
Morgan
and
just
also, like,
destroyed my German kid watching.
We did it. We're known for destroying childhood.
Kind of our brand.
Yeah, sorry everybody.
But our
So if
number
you guys
one.
like Avatar, The Last Airbender, we come watch us destroy it for you because we love it too, and we will make a lot of dick jokes.
Yeah.
So,
I think our
a lot
number
of
one
jokes about
Christmas
that film.
movie is
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is we don't think it's a very much of a debatable as a Christmas movie, but there's some debate. But I think that's a great nerd Christmas movie for sure.
Kevin McAllister versus Purgers. Kevin McAllister, come on.
Kevin McAllister's a purger for sure, dude. Yeah, he's all
Kevin
about that.
McAllister is a purger. So I have two more questions from my panel here, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Of course, favorite.
What? I'm just getting fired up.
For sure.
Okay. I'll just start with the next two questions then. A Christmas, since we're getting into this is a holiday celebration. It says Star Wars first, but also holiday celebration. What is something about the holidays you'd like to celebrate? Like we make all sorts of fun dips and stuff like that, like crab dip, and we make like cheese balls and stuff like that. We get together and we watch movies. Is there something in particular that you would like to share to bring up the vibes? The vibes.
Is that a Canadian thing where you guys just like your food to be wet? Like you like your fries to be covered in cheese or
Gravy on
gravy?
it. Get some gravy on that shit, man. Absolutely.
But we like to get we get this table out and we get like there's like 8-10 of us or whatever, and then we watch movies and we each, it's kind of like a potluck. People, like, someone makes something and someone brings something else and everybody kind of has their own little snack, and then there's we always get this like little oven snacks that you can buy, like the hors d'oeuvres. We always have hors d'oeuvres, like like the little pizza rolls and like the sausage rolls and
Fancy.
Right?
So chat, also feel free to share your favorites in the chat, but also panel, feel free to share kind of like some traditions, like holiday traditions, things that get you hype and excited.
I gotcha.
Sean, go first.
I was okay, and so I will say my grandma. Okay, the big ones that I think kind of just spell holidays, at least for me, were and because like you get the recipes passed in, but they used to be my grandma Darlene's deviled eggs. and good deviled eggs, because sometimes deviled eggs, not all deviled eggs are created equal.
Very true.
And, you know, like that shit can go wrong real motherfucking quick. But when you nail a deviled egg, that is just I think, and it's a very old school type of a thing. Like that's kind of a very grandma zone type of an hors d'oeuvre or whatever. But to me, that hits me in the nostalgia feels as far as like, it's the holidays, it's whatever. And then also, for some reason, like grapefruit flavored soda, like 50/50 or like
Fresca.
Squirt or something like that.
Fresca?
Like Fresca. Yeah, fucking Fresca. Shout out to The Boys season 2. But like, so far as that, like I just remember when I was a kid, it was like I never fucking saw any of that soda unless it was around Christmas time for whatever reason, or at least that's not what I remembered. So I remember those were like the two things that kind of stick out into my mind. That and like I think my grandma could make some really awesome like these like kind of like chicken noodle dish. I thought that was really great or whatever. But those are my two big ones. It's like you get that fucking plate of deviled eggs with the paprika, and it's like and it looks all cheesy and shit.
Because there's always got to be snacks, right? Like if there's family get there has to be snacks.
Because
right?
you're not stopping that like in Dune the spice was flow.
In North America, at least we like you know what I mean. Like we're eating all day. It's like Europeans laugh at us for this shit.
100%.
Go ahead, Draces. I want to hear yours.
I
Morgan.
mean, when I go home to Massachusetts, like just the epitome of like suburban middle class Christmas to me is like on Christmas morning, they always make the Pillsbury.
Sorry, you're getting a Chicago experience. Where there's like
I know.
like a full on like police raid
You're
going by.
getting arrested for the
McAllister.
Kevin McAllister take.
I saw McAllister.
I couldn't say his last name there for a minute.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, you get the Pillsbury cinnamon rolls, but you put them in the shape of a Christmas tree.
I didn't even
Remember
did that when I went home.
Right.
Yeah.
They do that every single Christmas, and then like maybe 2 or 3 get eaten. But they have to put them in, I think, for the smell more than for eating them. But
The smell-
Cinnamon in the oven, like apple pie, is probably the best smell. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and, for us, it's my stepdad's whole thing is that Christmas Eve he like spends all night prepping the roast. He roasts like an entire pig, like basically every year. Like
He does.
yeah, so he does a lamb on Easter and
With
a pig on
with
Christmas.
an apple in the mouth.
Well, he gets like half a pig and just like
You don't get the head.
And so that's like his whole thing. So like if we go to like we used to go to like my side of the family on Christmas Eve, and then Christmas was at his house or our house, So he would do the pig, but that's how he got out of having to go visit with my family. Was he like, I gotta prep the pig.
Do the pig.
Yeah.
Don't touch us with them paws.
Dustin, you're 100% Bavarian. I could see that. Your family's Bavarian.
I mean, we are German, so it's close enough. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
There you go.
The pig thing gave you away.
Right?
Schnitzel.
Nice.
So I love hearing all the snack and food talk because I can smell food right now. Like, you
So
smell
what do
the
they do
memories. You're like,
sorry.
smell the
What do
memories.
they do in Germany, Helen? What's
Sorry?
What's the tradition for you in Germany?
The thing is, I'm Jewish, so
Well, there you go. So nothing.
Hanukkah just happened. No. I'm half and half. I'm half Protestant and half Jewish. No, typical German is duck, I would say.
Sure.
And on Christmas Eve, because it's very different in Germany. The 24th, the evening, is the real Christmas for us. So we give the presents away on that day. And the whole family is there, and you cook, and you have a very limited meal. You have sausages, like Jewish people don't do it, but you have like pork sausages with ketchup and mayonnaise or Senf. I don't know the English word for that. Missed that word. So you have that and potato salad. It's like literally the food for poor people, because you remember, like Jesus and the parents that didn't have food at that. So you have a very limited food. And then on the 25th and 26th, you like splurge and you have the duck and all that.
Gewürztraminer.
But we have, Gewürztraminer. But we have, I wanted to show you this. We
Show
have
us.
a thing Okay, so we have a thing, and it's like it's really disgusting, and it's like everybody will be like, "Oh my god, those Germans!"
Is that a hedgehog?
Yes,
Oh,
and it's made of minced pork, like raw meat. It's like raw meat with onions, and we give it a face.
Wait.
And it's a hedgehog, and it's called Met Eagle, and sometimes you put in sticks. So it's very weird. I know.
You
put it on
cook
crackers?
it? I mean,
You put it on
in the oven,
crackers?
you cook it?
Crackers, yeah.
Or is it like cured with like lemon juice and parsley and garlic?
Yeah, so look, this one. So this is very too.
Oh.
I don't know. I can't explain it. We're weird. Oh yeah, mustard. Exactly.
Mustard.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we're weird. I know. I'm sorry.
Well, that's cool though. I like learning about this kind of stuff. Like someday I want to eat this porcupine thing.
I'll make one. I'll make one for you.
There you go. Hell yeah. Right on.
Whenever we go on our trips, I'm usually like making breakfast or like food for us and stuff. Like when the girls are hungry and
You're
shit
very
like that. So I'm
like
usually
a
up
molded
the earliest for
meatloaf,
some reason.
basically.
The thing is, Gemma is a vegan.
Yeah.
I'm Jewish, so I don't. And Kyle always makes stuff, and then we're like, but we can't eat that. It looks delicious, but we
Helen's on a
can't eat
fucking
that.
diet, or Gemma's like fucking. But I'm pretty good though. Like I made the
Good.
vegan
Amazing
veggie
good.
plate last time.
There you go, buddy.
Whenever we travel, when the Draces and Tank Top and our friend Amelia travel, our big thing is always shrimp. Like we just get copious amounts of shrimp.
That's true.
We ended up in New Orleans getting every shrimp thing you could possibly
Oh,
imagine.
yeah.
Like that's
Obviously
our
not.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's
I would
a big,
love to go there someday. I heard the food scene is crazy.
Because it's French and all the
Everything is so good. Yeah, definitely. Get your ass to fucking NOLA as soon as you can. Like it's like of all the it's easily top 2-3 American cities, and for my money for sure.
I've only really had Portillo's in Chicago, and I heard that I need to have better hot dogs than that. So
I mean, Portillo's is fine. Portillo's is okay.
Pizza, or is that just in the movie?
Chicago's deep dish pizza, is it not?
Well, I will say this. I think that the deep dish zone is good, and it's something to check out. But the real the real shit is the tavern style, very thin, very crispy crust, like kind of square cut pizza. That's like the Chicago. To me, that's like a little
That's
more
the
like
Chicago, the real Chicagoans. No, not
kind
this
of, sort
tourist
of,
shit.
yeah.
Not this tourist lasagna.
No,
man.
no, it is just like the big soup in a bread bowl type of thing.
Yeah.
Deep dish kind of deep dish is cool, but and it has its place. But I think the thin cut, square cut tavern style is the more Chicago.
I'll let you guys in on a little secret. Kate Bertinsky, as a vegetarian, she says I'm all about the mashed potatoes. My mom makes this casserole. Okay, she takes sweet potatoes, and what she does is she whips them like mashed potatoes, but she puts maple syrup in them, and then she puts a layer of mashed potatoes with cream cheese and chives in the middle, and then sweet potato, and it's like a casserole. And I'm telling you, it's one of the fucking best. It's like a sweet potato casserole, mashed potato casserole, and it's the bomb. Okay,
that sounds good.
2 different types of potatoes, and you eat some of it, and you want to nap right after. You're like, oh,
for sure. Food coma for
now
sure.
I want to visit all of you guys, and you cook for me, or we go for food. The thing is, like the weirdest stuff. I had that on my Instagram recently. Instagram reminds you of you've done this and this 2 years ago or whatever. I did a trip around Asia for 6-7 months, and I traveled Southeast Asia, and I told the guys I had tarantula on a stick and snake and all that, and it's cool, everywhere you go you try whatever the people are really
of course you got to
yeah, you have to, and it's so cool.
That's why we're having the panel tonight. We all have different views on Star Wars, mostly the same love for it. We all have a little bit different holiday experiences, but mostly holiday spirit is in us, and we wanted to share that today, which is 2020's been a tough year, but it's time to release a little serotonin and absorb some of it too, and
100%.
Look at so we went from Star Wars and we got into cool fucking stories, and then we started talking about food, like
Christmas movies, and then food, and now I'm just hungry, and I'm and I'm having a great time, but I'm like, I gotta get off this stream and go fucking put an order in for some shrimp or something.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so a super fun stream. I want to thank everybody for joining, of course, and everybody in chat. And one last thing I would like, everybody on this panel to do is share like just a little bit of holiday spirit before we go, and maybe just like a nice little message, and then we'll sign off. How about that? So Dustin and Morgan.
This year's been tough. We're normally bartenders and DJs and like things that require people to gather face to face. So all of that kind of went away this year. But really, honestly, the one thing that got us through this year is stuff like this. Just friends, internet friends, just making goofy videos on the internet. And we learned a lot this year that you're like only as strong as your like friends. So it's heartwarming when I think about 2020, even though I'm like, it's been rough. I'm like, it also makes me kind of happy because I'm like,
everybody
oh man,
experienced the same thing.
Yeah, we're all in it together. We're all trying to help each other through. So that's what I think about when I think about Christmas 2020, that I'm lucky.
Yeah.
Well said.
Oh, I love that, Morgan.
Oh, thank you.
Claps in chat. Dustin.
It's something that we learned from doing our live streams with you, Kyle, during Westworld, and we learned from doing our live streams about Lovecraft Country and this Mandalorian Mondays, is just the excitement of being able to hang out with all the people in chat and seeing our friends that are, friends on the internet and also friends in real life, people we've met through our travels. And it's all just through our love of nerdy television shows, and getting to spend time with everybody and meeting new friends on the internet has been really, it is the one thing I will cherish greatly about this year.
Yeah, it's really been a bit for mental health. It's been an absolute must to be able to talk to people as we're all, isolation is kind of the opposite of, I want to say opposite of affection, but if you think about it, affection, you're together with people that you love, usually celebrating things, and isolation is very difficult. And I've seen even the strongest of people that I know have never really suffered from depression in their lives suffer big time this year and come to me for advice, someone who has suffered from it since they were young, a young kid, a sensitive person. So it's been really interesting to kind of navigate relationships and friendships and everything this year. But it's really that's why I wanted to do the Star Wars celebration, is because it's a big W at the end of the year. It's feels like we're kind of rising again a little bit. So I like to hear those two positive notes. Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, kind of like to echo sort of what the Drase has said. I mean, I will say this, and this is like the pure fucking, of course I'm going to do this, but it's kind of like that, it's that quote from Jurassic Park, life.
Hold on to your butts.
Right. Well, no, hopefully a little bit of that too, but it's like life finds a way. And the thing about it, I think that, the only good thing about every hard time that I've ever had myself personally throughout my whole life, usually kind of getting through it. The thing about most of the times about a bad day is that it's not always a funny story, but it's like when you go through a rough time, you look back and it's kind of like it was either a learning experience or something. It made you stronger. It helped you forge stronger relationships. It made you, there's a kind of a purity of vision as far as the important things.
Truth.
That come through a time of hardship. And I think that the fact that we're all kind of doing it together, it kind of gives us a little bit more clarity on the things that we want to focus on going forward. I mean, I think I know that there's a lot of tough things that still lie ahead for a lot of people, but I do think that at least insofar as what the thing, the ringer that we've kind of been put through this year, it's distilled a kind of it knocks a lot of the priority list has been kind of cleared, and now we kind of know the things that really are important to me. I mean, like the two right above me, they mean the world. It's hard to put.
Don't forget Grogu 3.
It really is, and no, for real, and Kyle and Helen. I mean, Kyle was you were our live stream Obi-Wan. Like, we never really fucking fucked with this shit until around March. We didn't, man. I mean, like, and you said, and you came up and you were like, you've taken your first steps into a larger world. And like, and you, and like these live streams have been like a really awesome way to like connect with our, with our audience, with your audience, and then just like meeting love. And then, I mean, we've only done a handful of streams with Helen, but like, I mean, just like a beaming, lovely spirit. And it's always like, just to be able for this whole enterprise to kind of bring it all together. And the fact that we're only going to get less tied down. From here on out, we're only going to get less like inhibited as far as like where we can go, traveling, et cetera, so forth. So that means that the possibilities for a new year, I think that there's a lot of hope that kind of
a new hope.
There's a new hope.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
It's full circle.
Yeah, for sure.
Wait.
Well, what you got?
Well said, Sean.
Yes.
Helen.
I mean,
No, I'm the girl that literally, even in the apocalypse, is dancing on a table with a bottle of champagne in her hands. That's just me. The only thing I really missed was, because literally, Kyle knows that every weekend I was traveling the world. I hopped on a plane, went just somewhere. That's who I am. I'm the traveling gypsy, and I couldn't do that. And I appreciated, a calmer life and reflecting and reading a lot and meeting, people like you, because I'm a very open person and I love meeting people. This is what makes my life richer. And I love that, and I had more time for that. So I'm. Yes, it was a very shit year for everybody, but we almost made it, people. Don't jinx it.
Right.
Knock on all the wood. Hold on.
Knock on.
All the wood everywhere. Great.
Yeah.
That seems to be a similar sentiment that a lot of people are feeling, Helen. It was a shit year, but I learned a lot.
I did. And I never would have taken the time to reflect on a lot of things and to appreciate, because I just took them for granted. Yes, I'm a very spoiled, rich kid. So, oops. I really took that step back, and thank you for everybody, and what means everything to me, because yes, I'm a very tiny nerdy channel, but when I read comments, because I do Lord of the Rings stuff, and at the moment there's no, not the big demand for especially the stuff I do, because I don't do movie stuff. I do deep book nerdy stuff, books people haven't read. And so I really appreciate every comment, people saying, oh my God, I bought the books because you brought back the love of that universe to me, and that means everything. Yeah.
She's a YouTuber now, chat. She's a YouTuber.
Yeah,
I
hit up that channel. Well, no, but also, I mean, like, that's one thing coming forward in the next year and in the next couple of years, and probably who knows, like, with how long that show's going to do. Like, I think there's going to be a lot more interest. It's going to be really good for the channel.
So, they said the golden age of TV was Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones. Well, look at the next years.
Yeah, we got a lot more coming out.
Oh yeah, there's.
Anyone of you panel people want to talk Lord of the Rings? Please come. I really. Like the three of you, it was so cool to meet you. Obviously, Carl is always invited, but he sleeps through. But if you want to come on my channel and talk weird Shelob and spiders and weird stuff, so come on my channel. You're always
the story to that is I never overcame my jet lag when I flew to London last October, and the last day of our trip, after walking all over England, I was pretty tired. And I slept through the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy. So we had this big couch, and they were like placing cards on me and building forts and shit on me. There's pictures, and they were shaming me.
Oh, that's great.
Robert, Emma, and I, we love these movies, and Carl's and we literally binge watch.
They're my favorite too.
That's like a full night's of sleep, though. So you were very well rested.
They don't believe me anymore. And I was busy feeding our yard cat that we had at our Airbnb named Tormund. Okay.
Awesome.
He was a stray cat, and
he was so sick too.
Yeah, but he whatever.
Tormund, we hope you made it. And I think I'm just gonna cap off the sentiment, raising a cheers, everyone, to 2020 and into 2021. Thanks to everyone in chat and the panel.
Cheers to
Pretty
everybody.
much the same sentiments, yes, I've been thinking a lot. Sometimes I think of 2020 as a failure. No Game of Thrones, not as much to do. However, I do think that my mind has changed on that a lot. In accordance with a lot of what everybody here is saying, is I did get a lot of spiritual growth. I'm not an incredibly religious person, but I am spiritual, and I do think.
And you got the president you want.
Yeah, Trump lost. Woo, hype train for that.
Right.
But yeah, I honestly, I feel so good about 2021 and the good things coming. 6 Marvel shows next year. And it's not just about TV shows. I just think it's almost like humanity endured a little bit of suffering to gain some perspective this year. And not everybody gained it, but the people that did are going to be way better off. You know what I mean? And I think that's such a, there's only so many huge events in life that you can have like this that really open your eyes this big. So
yeah,
I am thankful for all the people on this panel for joining me and for being cool people and having awesome views and things that I also enjoy and being good friends. I'm also very thankful for everybody that's joined us in chat and celebrated all these cool things that we did tonight. And like I said, it's a Star Wars holiday celebration. So if you read the title correctly, Star Wars and Holidays. And I think that, it's cool that we had Westworld that bring us together this year. And then obviously me and Helen have had a couple of other things that we've also enjoyed together, but it's cool that we're all together. From all of our favorites are coming together to celebrate Star Wars, and it's been a really good year for Star Wars. And I think it's going to be an even better year for anybody that wants to celebrate not just Star Wars, but something that you like. I think that next year is going to be a good year for that. So, with that said, links to all of the social media, YouTube channels, all that in the description of the video. If you want to check these people out, a big thank you, of course, to everybody that joined, and I will see you all for a Witcher Wednesday, possibly tomorrow, and a Saturday Expanse live stream with the Shea, and a couple more live streams before the end of the year and before 2021. Like I said, check out these people. Have a great, safe holidays, everyone in chat. Please enjoy, and have a great evening. Bye, everyone.
Later.
Bye.
Bye now.